Well, Deb Murphy filed this report for Sierra Wave Media. Faced with the prospect of staggering fees levied by the California Water Resources Control Board if that agency steps in to develop groundwater sustainability in the Owens Valley groundwater basin, the Inyo County Board of Supervisors gave Inyo Water Department head Bob Harrington a green light to begin public outreach and discussions toward a county-headed Groundwater Sustainability Agency, or GSA. Now, the outreach discussions do not preclude Tri-Valley Groundwater Management District from forming a GSA for Mono County's portion of the basin in Chalfont, Hamel, and Benton Valleys. To date, Tri-Valley hasn't decided the direction it will take. Inyo's GSA can also oversee that part of the Owens Valley Basin that lies under Swall Meadows in Mono County. Harrington gave the board and a full house at Tuesday's meeting a taste of proposed state-levied fees. The city of Bishop would be looking at $72,300 in fees for the roughly 1,800 acre-feet pumped per year. Farmers growing alfalfa on 160 acres with 5 acre-feet per year would pay $32,100. Individual domestic wells will not be impacted by the Sustainable Groundwater Management Act, though they have to endure de minimis status defined as too trivial or minor to merit consideration, end quote. GSAs have both power and flexibility. According to Harrington, GSAs can set fees and pumping limits, require monitoring, define minimums for de minimis wells as part of the plan. There is flexibility in how stakeholders have input, either as a voting board member or a non-voting participant. The range of possible public entities able to form a GSA includes water agencies, community service districts, cities with counties the default agency. Now, in Inyo, the potential cost of managing an agency eliminates most of those possibilities. According to Inyo County Supervisor Matt Kingsley, the Indian Wells Basin GSA, of which Inyo is a part, estimated it would take $500,000 to run the agency. Harrington told the board grant funding will be available to develop a GSP, but probably not actually operating the agency itself. So, what about the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power's role? Geographically, the department manages roughly half of the entire Owens Valley Basin. Now, SGMA exempts adjudicated districts, those whose water rights have been handed down by court order. Now, the portion of the Owens Valley Basin under land owned by LADWP is regulated by the long-term water agreement, but isn't technically adjudicated. However, the county and city lobbied Sacramento to exempt that portion of the basin from SGMA. There's still a little bit more from Deb Murphy's report. Urge you to see that on our website, sierrawave.net. Also, Charles James filed this story. If most of us are honest, we don't do nearly as much for others in need as we should, but we rationalize that we are just too busy, although much of what we do falls in the category of busy work and self-serving activity. Charles James says, fortunately for our community, there are people like Olga Rojas of Bishop, who was invited to speak at last week's Lions Club luncheon. Rojas is an example of someone who unselfishly lives her life for others and not only for herself. This extraordinary community volunteer has battled a series of life-threatening illnesses that would easily serve as an excuse for most of us to take it easy and not become involved in the problems of others. Olga Rojas has battled multiple sclerosis and stage 4 cancer over the past several years, but rather than turn inward and feeling sorry for herself, she took an opposite approach. She chooses to serve others with needs lesser and greater than her own. In his introduction of Olga Rojas at the Lions Club, Dr. Stacy Brown, Northern Inyo Hospital, read from the Inyo Register's Inyo County profile for 2015-2016, which noted that Olga was presented the Patriot Award on May 12th for sustained extraordinary service from 2009 to 2016 by the Long Beach Project Healing Waters Fly Fishing Program, which comes to the Bishop area for an annual gathering of war veterans suffering from PTSD, seeking the peace and calm of the outdoors. Now, having lost 2 brothers in Vietnam and with many other family members having served in the armed forces, Olga Rojas honors their memory by supporting veterans' causes and serving on the VFW Auxiliary, supporting homeless veterans and participating in the Quilts of Valor that makes quilts for veterans. Olga also does fundraising for the Wounded Warrior Center project in Mammoth Lakes. And as if all this was not enough, Olga is also a member of the Eastern Sierra Breast Cancer Alliance and mentors cancer patients. Why do I do this? Olga posed as a question to the Lions Club member. Because it is the right thing to do. Everyone needs kindness and compassion and a human touch to get through difficult times. Olga Rojas ended her talk by saying, "This is my heart, this is my calling," and then asked others to join her. Great story by Charles James. Thank you. Well, the National Fish and Wildlife Foundation has announced the first round of grants from its recently launched Pacific Southwest Fuels Management Partnership, and the June Lake area was included. Press release notes the $1.7 million in awards announced will fund 4 projects and will be matched by more than $1.3 million in grantee contributions for a total conservation impact of more than $3 million. Now, the partnership funds fuel management projects that reduce the risk of severe wildfire, protect critical natural resources and ecological values of the United States Forest Service restoration investments, and reduce the risk of damage to public and private improvements near Forest Service lands. The successful first round of grants was made possible through funding from the United States Forest Service. That press release notes that the June Mountain Ski Area White Bark Pine Restoration Inyo National Forest California trout, which received $490,144 to remove bark beetle impacted trees to improve forest resilience and decrease the risk of a large-scale, high-intensity wildland fire affecting 110 acres in the June Lake and downstream Grant Lake and Rush Creek watersheds. Now, the project will remove dead and dying coniferous trees within the selected white bark pine stands to promote seed catch behavior by Clark's nutcracker and improve stand conditions. Project will also confer fire protection benefits to the community of June Lake. That full press release is posted on our website, sierrawave.net. We'll be back with more news.